Good evening and welcome to Fermanagh TV. My name's Treacy, and tonight we are in Brewster Park. A little bit later on air than anticipated. We encountered some technical difficulties here, but thankfully we've got most of those ironed out. Unfortunately, we were to have DJ Kane along with us this evening. DJ is sitting in his house in Newry. He had his Skype connection ready. We too had our Skype connection on this end, but unfortunately we just couldn't get it through to the streaming element of our programme, so we had to unfortunately cancel on DJ. But we have two very able guests here tonight. Marty McGrath is with us, and so too is the Fermanagh senior football manager Ryan McMenamin, and we'll hear from those two guys in a moment or so. 2020, a very strange year, as everybody knows. Playing an Ulster Championship in November is not something that we'd ever anticipated. Having the Club Éirne annual patrons and members night in November wasn't something we'd ever anticipated either. Having it outdoors in Brewster Park, certainly not something we'd anticipated. It's very cold here in Brewster Park tonight. But the show must go on, and the show has certainly went on from all our Club Éirne supporters throughout the year. Our brand partners, our patrons, our members, our gold patrons, they've all stuck with Club Éirne over what has been a difficult 2020, and they've shown their support by providing the financial assistance that is required for Fermanagh GAA to keep developing, as everybody is hoping that they will do. So, as I said earlier on, I'm joined here by two household names. That's Marty McGrath and Ryan McMenamin. Marty, start with yourself. You're very welcome to Fermanagh GAA TV on the Club Éirne night. What a 5 weeks it has been for you, I'm sure. I think that's probably, it was 5 weeks ago when Éirne created that little bit of history by winning their first senior football championship for 52 years, and what an integral part you played in that victory. You must have had a brilliant lot of weeks since we last spoke.
Yeah, it was great for the club, great for the players, and I suppose in a way it was one of them nights when you look around and everything fell in their place. When players performed on the day, and they performed to what we expected, what we planned for, and I suppose when you look at it, when we brought the trophy home, it was the youngsters and the enthusiasm and the whole lift that's given to the town and give to the parish. With the club building up new grounds and new facilities, we needed it. We needed it for the club with that, and we needed it for the players too, because we've been knocking on the door a while, and thankfully it came this year. And I know it's been a strange year, and we're disappointed there's no Ulster club, but we're still glad we got it.
And Marty, you mentioned the club, you mentioned the community. What impact do you believe such a victory, it's probably too early to say at this juncture, but what impact do you believe that such a victory will have for both the club and the community going forward?
Yeah, I suppose it's new ground for us. It just gives everything a lift. It gives all what everybody's working for, the effort they're putting in. There's a lot of people behind the scenes putting in a lot of effort that's not seen when you go out onto the pitch. The players we've seen, the management we've seen, but there's a lot of people that's in the committee. I suppose there's a gym there now, and there's people that has to be maintained, that has to be kept. And even a few weeks ago, there was a clean up around the town, and there was a lot of youngsters involved around the pitch cleaning it up, and that creates an atmosphere, creates a buzz. You could see the under 12s now, the under 10s, under 8s, all looking to get a ball in their hand. And believe it or not, some of these players will actually be playing with the current senior team. So the boys will be under 12 now and be thinking that's far away. That's not. There's a lot of that senior team might be still there when they get to late teen, 19, 20 years of age.
And for you personally, a dream come true. I'm sure you don't mind me saying 39 years of age, you've waited on this one such a long time. Always the bridesmaid, it appeared, and never the bride. And ultimately, that victory a few weeks ago must have been a dream come true.
Yeah, it was. I hung around because I knew there was a team. There was a bunch of players there. There was the McCuskers. There was Sean Cassidy was coming through. Mark McCauley was there, Ryan Marsh. You had a number of players, and then you had Luke Harn coming on this year as well. There was all these players adding to it. Conor McGee's performed well this year, so you knew there was players there, but it's just producing it at the time and on the day. So yes, that's why I hung in. I could have walked if we weren't knocking on the door. I didn't feel that it was in the team. I probably would have walked a few years ago, but not now. But the one thing I'm disappointed at, I suppose, like, I don't know if Ricey's got my number, so I was waiting for the call after this, and I was just saying to him there, here's my number, see if I'm still available. Like.
Oh, sure, you're going to play for another 3 or 4 years, so I'm sure he'll be giving you a call maybe next year.
I tried phoning him there, but I think he must have a new number from the one I have from him now.
I think you have the same number, you just don't use it.
Ricey, before we talk Fermanagh, you experienced the same with your home club in Dromore. You had gone 60 years, I think it was, or something like that, in your history, and was it 2007? What impact did it have on Dromore club and community?
No, I think it's the same as what Marty said. Like it gives a massive lift, and probably when you're looking at Dromore now, there would have been probably neighbours, and probably the 2 sets of supporters follow. There'd be a lot of Dromore supporters down watching the Adelaide games on a Friday night, and then you'd have maybe a lot of Adelaide ones up watching it. From even the families, there are families that are mixed in through. So like there was a lot of Dromore ones. Maybe I think maybe they were celebrating as well. And there's been a lot of Adelaide ones celebrating when Dromore first won. But
no celebrations this year.
But no, like it was it's a massive lift. It's a massive lift to the community, and probably it's a massive lift to the players. I think it's more, as Marty alluded to there, it's the boys behind the scenes, because they're doing the work and behind it, and maybe you don't see it, but there has been a lot of work, even to win one championship. If you probably look back and think about the amount of hours were spent maybe training boys at under 12, under 14, under 16, under 18, and maybe when it goes out to senior, maybe when they won the championship, the senior manager or the team get the plaudits and the praise, and rightly so. But I think a lot of people forget the amount of hours that a lot of volunteers did from the whole way up to get the players up to the thing. And for them, I know it meant a lot for our club. And when we first wanted to, it kind of gave us a springboard maybe to go on and see they won 2 more and contest. Maybe we contested maybe five finals in about 4 or 5 years, and it gave us that springboard. But not like it's definitely great winning something with your club now.
Yeah, Marty, so 4 or 5 more finals to come as a springboard for many more.
He's another 5 years.
Well, I talked about 5 weeks, Ricey, there that Marty had that he enjoyed and basked in the glory. I suppose it was a totally different 5 weeks for yourself, back into getting the players back training, and then the 2 National League games, and I suppose the problems that the team suffered with the COVID outbreak, and then I suppose ultimately the relegation to Division 3. It's been a tough 5 weeks for you, I'm sure, and your players.
Aye, look, it's been tough, but you think you kind of have to take the good and the bad. It's never easy all the time, and look, it's probably just when you're looking at it and look on the football, you looked at the Laois game and probably maybe we took a head melt in the last 5, and probably I don't know how we lost it, but we played a lot of good football, and then down in Clare as well we played a lot of good football, but we haven't got the results, and we can't shy away from that as well. So, but no, the 5 weeks were tough, and I think it's been tough for everybody. Even so, I think it's tough for the players, because I think what they have to do to get themselves to play football now at the minute, they're more or less isolating themselves away from everybody else. And I was chatting to one player there, and he doesn't go up to Belfast anymore now, because he says he's just afraid of the consequences is going to leave the team. So, well, he says his parents is getting sick of him, but he's still going to stay. He says he's getting fed well. Yeah. So no, it's tough. It's very tough, and it's maybe now only the last 2-3 weeks that we've had all the boys back, that you have been able to get your teeth onto it. And I think, as Marty knows, playing with the county and even playing with the club, once you have everyone out in the field, it's a totally different. When you're training maybe with 10 or 12, they're probably the most draining sessions, because you have enough that you can't train, that you have to train, but you don't have enough to do anything meaningful. But then when you have a 28, 29, be it an absolutely totally like it's a dream. And like in fairness to us, we've a 28, 29 out since the Clare game, you know, so it's been great.
And you know, you alluded to the fact there about young players and the difficulties that they're encountering at the minute. I suppose you have to have a careful eye as well that they are in good form mentally as well, because it is a tough time on young people.
Yeah, it's a tough time on everybody, and like probably especially the young. You probably forget when. You have to remember when you were 19, maybe. And when you were 19, 20, you mightn't want to remember, but
Or you mightn't remember.
You mightn't remember.
That's why you didn't play under 21.
I didn't play. I didn't play a lot from under 21. But no, like you have to remember them, and look at us, and it's tough. And look, in fairness, like we've always been chatting to any of the boys, you know, and if there's any, we're always asking at Treacy, you know, if there's how they getting on, or like you always make sure you get round all the boys, you know. So look, but no, I think the one thing about it is, and even people were criticising the GA, it's given outlet to them, and it's given outlet to everybody, you know. And so at least you have something to look forward to on a Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday morning, you know, that you can go out and the players are looking forward to it as well.
Yeah. We'll come back and talk a wee bit more in detail about the Fermanagh team and all the circumstances in and around the game in a few moments. But just on a wider perspective, Ulster Championship in October, November start, and 3 games last weekend. Donegal victorious, Armagh victorious, and Cavan. I suppose that was probably the biggest upset over the weekend. What was your take on those 3 games, Marty, or can you learn anything from them? And conditions were terrible as well.
It's like back in the olden days when league football was played before Christmas. It's winter football. I know the pitch is looking great here now, and I don't know if it's going to be a wild pile of rain before Sunday, but really and truly, it's a bit heavier than it would be in the May time or July. So, you know, it's winter football. It's that wee bit more suited to the rugged player. You know, you saw Donegal. It probably suited Donegal more than it suited Tyrone. And granted, Donegal were the better team. They were the better team in the league game, and they were the better team in the championship game. So you could see that because of probably the conditions and everything else. Cavan probably brought Cavan and Monaghan a wee bit closer together too. Monaghan probably started playing keep ball, and I don't know, it was the sensible thing to do. Instead of going and killing the game off more, they thought that they could highlight and move the ball fast in the conditions. It mightn't just move as quick.
And were you surprised by Monaghan? And do you think that is something that they were advised to do tactically by management, or do you think that's something that the players decided to do at the start of the second half? And Treacy, you come in on that as well.
It's difficult to say that. It's when things happen like that, it just happens in the game, and then it's hard to turn it.
It seemed very deliberate.
Yes,
it's kind of. I don't know. It's hard. Maybe they could have been told to be maybe a wee bit more patient on it, and sometimes maybe you do give instructions. But as Marty says, sometimes the games take a life of their own, and then it's just as a matter then, like the players mightn't realise it, but once you get out of the rhythm of going, because even if you look at the water breaks now, you're in a rhythm, and it stops the rhythm going, and then another team can pick up. But I've been playing in games where we've been told, look, we can keep the ball maybe, but he says we still want to go forward, but you found yourself maybe keeping the ball, doing nothing between the 2 45s and then losing it, and it was never part of the plan. Like. Never part of that. That's.
And you mentioned the water breaks too. It's winter football. I think they don't need them now.
But I suppose the water breaks are because you can't bring water onto the pitch. Isn't that the reason, rather than anything to do with the temperatures?
No, I know, but I just don't think you need it. You should be fit enough to run for 35 minutes without getting much water in you. Yeah. But I know common sense. You have to have it for hydration and everything else. But maybe we read too much into that, and maybe we should be just here going ding dust at it here and see what happens.
And from a Tyrone perspective, you've been talking, I'm sure, to Tyrone fans and supporters and maybe players during the week. Could have been, should have been. Is there a bit of that?
I think every championship game you can, if you're coming away after 2 points, you're always thinking of the could haves or the should haves. You know, I think they probably give a soft goal to Donegal, let them back in. It was a great kick out from Patton, which he has in his armour, he can do, you know. And the lads switched off that one time, and in fairness, when Langan made that run, it was a great run and great finish. Just probably the only thing we didn't get enough. Probably, I know with Marty Donnelly, like a lot of the players would have. A lot of Throne supporters would have liked to see Marty maybe not on Murphy, you know, because he cancelled him and Murphy out. And Marty's a great when he gets the ball and he's actually driving forward. You can see him driving into tackles or driving. We probably didn't see enough out of that with Marty because he was probably concentrating on Michael Murphy. But that's what happens. Sometimes you.
And then it was probably too late for him when he was. The shackles were taken off and Hampsey came on for him to maybe influence the game.
But then that look again, if you had to keep how quiet Murphy was in the game, you would have took on that all day. So he did a great job there. But if he was doing such a good job there, it took away from his other point then. And
if you'd have said, and I think I saw somebody saying it before, McHugh and Murphy who make their own tick or Donegal tick when Donegal's not, when they go off the game, and it happened in the league game against Tyrone a couple of times, when they drop off the tempo, McHugh and Murphy combine with each other and up the game, and none of them two were in the game on Sunday, but other fellas stepped up, and that's where you have to say Donegal are there or thereabouts, but they're a team that needs to get to an All-Ireland semi-final or final to show their progress.
And your old sparring partner, Rory, he would have been disappointed. I assume, I don't know whether you've been talking to him or not, but he would have been disappointed, I'm sure, so near but yet so far as well.
I think I was chatting to him there Tuesday just there, so I was on the phone then for a while there, so we were regaling old stories there. So no, look at him, he was disappointed maybe at a few soft scores maybe that Armagh got at the start and made them chasing, but at the same time I think he's happy where Derry's at, you know, and he's already looking to the future. He's
looking forward to getting a crack at Fermanagh next year, is he?
I think he's well geared up for it, he said, so he doesn't back down from that sort of situations.
What did you make of the Derry performance and Armagh? Will the test Donegal?
Yeah, it was the first round. I suppose look, if people are looking at it from the outside, you're going to say Donegal's to lose Ulster. I'm not taking that away from any team. I'd like to think that Fermanagh can come through to their side of the draw and maybe meet Donegal, but the Armagh probably best suited there now to come through from Derry Armagh when you look at it to play Donegal, but I just think that Donegal's going to be strong. Derry put it up in the second half. Conditions on Sunday was poor. That made it difficult to play against them. You know, it was a game of two halves, so to speak. But in fairness to Derry, they stuck at it and they got back in the game. It was just, I suppose, Armagh just had that wee bit more about them.
And Armagh against Donegal, Ricey?
I think as Marty says, Armagh, they're an up and coming. They've been thereabouts. Their forward line can, on their day, can trouble anybody. Probably defensively, maybe they're probably thinking that they could maybe have a problem. Donegal probably could have McBurty back for the next game, which is going to be a big help. But Donegal have been they're probably in a good place now with the age profile of the team, and they've been probably building this team maybe for the past couple of years now. So they're going for 3 in a row. They're confident in their own skin at the same time now, so they know if there's anything going wrong. Even when they were 5-1 down against Tyrone, they didn't really seem to panic, you know, and they were happy enough to chip away at the scores. So for them, I'd say Armagh will be confident enough going in because it's the first game in a while. Armagh's been they're not favourites.
There's a lot of people saying during the week, I don't know whether it's a sensible statement or not, is that they're having a lot to lose, Armagh.
Probably not. They've achieved what they wanted. They wanted to get to Division 1. They've got to it now, and it's just a one-off game. And for them, they're looking maybe like the 2021 season's maybe only 7 weeks away.
Yeah.
So.
And from a wider perspective, Marty, the Ulster Championship, I take it you're, like most people, you think it's Donegal's to lose probably at this stage, is it?
Yeah, it is. You know, look, things could go against you. Black card, red card. Look, on the other day, I don't know, I can't remember who the fellow was that hit McKiernan in the back of the head or tapped him in the back of the head. It was the centre back. He could have got a red card.
Paul Brennan.
He could have got a red card. That would have been a massive change in that game. That would have been Tyrone's game then. Anything can happen in a game, injuries or anything. So, yes, to look at it, Donegal, and you never know who'll come through on this other side. You'd like to think that Fermanagh would have enough on Sunday to come through, and then it's possibly going to Cavan to beat Antrim. But, you know, it's all on the day. It's winter football. It's the bounce of the ball. The ball gets stuck in the mud
Yeah,
somewhere along
yeah.
the line. You think it's going to bounce over the bar or
Can't happen.
bounce against you. So I look at the minute, yes, Donegal, and I think Donegal maybe even to go on maybe to an All-Ireland final.
Yeah, and before, as I say, we get into the thick of the Fermanagh Down game, the overall championship, Connacht, I suppose, a blow this weekend in that Sligo aren't going to field. Difficult for Sligo, Ricey, your thoughts on that? Or
It's hard, especially they did have a week to play about with, and probably it is going to be hard. I know the GA said that maybe if it comes to semi-final stage that they will postpone games, and I think that's harder, and maybe it does look a wee bit maybe for the smaller teams that if they're looking at an All-Ireland semi-final being postponed maybe for a Kerry or Mayo, it probably feeds into a lot of maybe what maybe the smaller counties are feeling maybe, well, it's not really for us here, and it's hard for Sligo. I know you kind of feel for Paul Taylor, because you have to do everything right and you have to look outside it. It's only they look at it's only football, and you worry the players have to go and work, and they have their families is the utmost, their health is the utmost. Then at the same time, when you realise then you've got another week to play with, you could have said, we can postpone it back to there now. But it's I know the GA is in a tight situation and the teams are in a tight situation, but I'm sure them lads have been training since the 14th of September to have just play 2 league games and then no championship.
Yeah. So Galway in the Connacht final, and they would play the winners of Mayo and Roscommon, who play on Sunday. So give me the winner of that and give me the winner of the Connacht final, Racing.
I think Roscommon will beat Mayo and Galway.
Galway to win it out.
Yeah.
Marty? Roscommon Mayo will be interesting.
It will be. It just depends what Mayo turn up. On their day they could beat anybody, but it just depends. And I think Galway probably have got over that there. The fact that Mayo beat them so well in the league might help Galway.
Yeah, so Galway as well for you. And is there any point in talking about Leinster?
Not really, no.
No, I think Dublin's gonna.
Meath, Kildare, no.
Meath maybe I think they'll put it up to them more maybe.
Maybe people think that Wicklow put it up to Meath. Maybe that might be.
I could but I think Meath have improved.
Yeah.
They have improved. The Span Division 1 has improved them, and I think that they will be there about. I think they are getting closer, but it could be a year or two yet, before they get to Dublin or get to that standard.
Dublin's the top, in fairness, so it's a right high level that you have to reach. So I think it'll be Dublin now.
Yeah, and looking down into Munster, a lot of people think that Munster isn't competitive anymore, but Cork have had a brilliant 12 months. They've won more or less every game they've played, so have they an opportunity on Sunday to cause a big shock, Marty?
It's Cork Kerry. Same as Throne Donegal, Throne Armagh. It's Cork Kerry. So you never know what could happen. The fact Kerry look like a team that might even be favourites for the All-Ireland at the minute, so that could be against Cork. I'd actually go to say that I'm tipping Kerry to win the All-Ireland, so I think it's going to be.
So Kerry's going to beat Cork then. What do you think of Cork's?
Well, I think they've improved massively from we played them 2 years ago up in here, and I didn't like when they got relegated, and I think Fermanagh got a draw of the game of a game we should have won maybe 4 or 5 points easy, but they've improved massively. I think now they've got the bit between their teeth, but I think again I'll have to agree with Marty that Kerry be probably one of the teams that you'd think that can win it, and I think maybe again they're maybe 2 or 3 years off Kerry's development and playing, and then I don't think maybe they've got anyone to stop really Clifford or Sean O'Shea. They've got them 2 very good forwards there. If you had any of them in any team, they'll make an awful difference. But the 2 of them, I think, well, especially Sean O'Shea has in the last couple of league games, he's stepped up magnificently. So.
Excellent player, so he is. Yeah. So it's Kerry, Dublin, Galway, and Donegal. Is that what we've said? We'll ask you that, Anna. And and Kerry for you then?
I think Kerry.
Kerry play.
Kerry play the Ulster.
Well, then Donegal's not going to make the final.
No.
I think
so it's Kerry Donegal. Who'll win that?
I don't think. I think Kerry will win it, but it don't.
It's Ulster and Leinster.
Ulster and Leinster. Well, it's Ulster and Leinster then. So I think Kerry's going to come through against Galway then. So if that's the way it materialises.
Right, and then Kerry, Dublin final, or Donegal, are you going to stick with them?
It's difficult. You look at the game of Kerry and Donegal last year in the All-Ireland Super 8s. It was a cracking game, two evenly matched teams. Donegal on their day can be a match if they keep everybody fit, and Paddy McGrath is there. So, I think it's going to be a Kerry Dublin final if you put it that.
I'll not ask you, will I?
No, you're all right.
Yeah,
you can give me a pass.
I'll give you a pass on that one. Right, I'm sure there's people all over the world tuned in, enjoying the conversation here on our annual Club Éirne chat show night. Definitely with a difference here in Brewster Park with the lights on and it looking really, really splendid out here. The surface looking really, really well and the lights on and everything set for what should be a magnificent match here on Sunday afternoon. Throw in at 1:30. There you have the pictures of Brewster Park looking really, really well here. Have you been on it this week, Ricey?
We were on it last night there, so
Right.
we're happy now. In fairness, now it's in good shape there now, and it's, as Marty said, it is a wee bit heavy, you know. But look, it's winter football, but no, it's in fantastic shape now, and it's a credit to the Gaels. You know, they've got it in great nick now.
Yeah. Well, as I was saying there, look at so many people tuned in tonight, Ryan, and they're delighted that you've come along. And before we get into talk about the game against Down and the ins and outs of that, maybe we'll ask you to give us the starting team if you don't mind.
Yeah, no problem.
Because I'm sure there's people sitting at their homes, and we're going to get it up on the screen as well in a moment, but we'll give you let you start off with it there, if you don't mind.
Yeah, well, starting off in goals is Sean McNally. The cornerback is Johnny Cassidy. Fullback Kane Connor. Cornerback Luke Flanagan. Wing halfback is Josh Largo Ellis. Number 6 James McMahon. 7 Cian McManus. 8-9 is Ryan Jones and Owen Donnelly. 10 Kieran Corrigan. 11 Dara McGurn and 12 Aidan Breen, and 13 Steve McGullion. 14 Tomas Corrigan and 15 is Declan McCusker.
Yeah, and your subs there: James McGrath, Kevin McDonald, Danny Teague, Colin Jones, Richard O'Callaghan, Paul McCusker, Eddie Courtney, Rory Corrigan, Sean Casty, Ryan Breen and Lorcan McStravick. So that's the 26.
Yeah, there's just as a 26 now. It could be, as I said, it could be subject to change maybe in closer. You just never know.
Yeah. From a first view at that there, Marty, what's your thoughts? Maybe we'll put it back up again there for a moment. Marty,
there's
you're not going to criticise Ricey in front of him, I suppose, are you?
No, he has
behind his
before.
back. He's criticised me before, so he'll be all right.
Go on ahead then.
No, I think there's a few debutants. Many is there now. There's
McNally, Flanagan, Largo Ellis.
Yeah.
And Dara McGurn will be his first championship start.
And Kane would have played back in the day, did he?
He did, yeah.
Yeah, Kane was playing.
Yeah.
I had to be confident in them debutants. McNally's a great player. He's a great kick out. And watches could be vital against Down. Down mightn't be just classed as the biggest team at the minute. I suppose Ricey doesn't want to be here saying too much, but I like to think that like Owen Donnelly and Ryan Jones and Stephen McGullion, they're big, they're strong, can bring it to that centre. They have done it. They've done it for the clubs. They've done it. So I'd expect them to do it on Sunday. And then Luke Flanagan.
You expect the three boys to be around the middle?
Well, obviously with Stephen there, they'd be thinking around, not to be saying what Ricey'd be doing, but I expect Stephen to be out around the middle, and maybe Ryan, I suppose, playing his normal role that he plays with Dargan now. Look, I'd say, and Luke Flanagan, hardy wee boy he is too, with Cian beside him. Now Cian McManus too strong fellas. So, and then Josh Largo Ellis, I like him as a footballer. I like him going forward. All them boys, I suppose, Luke Flanagan, Josh Largo Ellis and McNally were on the McCrories and the Hogan teams.
Mm-hmm.
So, they're used to winning. They bring something different to it. They bring more energy to it. They're youth. They're young. And then you have Johnny Cassidy's probably going to be tasked with a man-marking role. So and he's improved a lot over the years and over the last year or two. So and he's a fine footballer. So I'd be confident enough of that team that's out. I know
Does
that
the
there's
lack
a lot
of
of guys missing.
does the lack of an out and out fullback concern you?
The way the game's played now, yeah, well, look, if it's a high ball in, I suppose we suffered a club with, I suppose, the high ball in there this year, but, you know, the way the game's played now, there's a lot of protection. James McMahon plays a lot of the sweeping role, so I think he's good at that, and he's controlled it well, so expect Down to be sweeping, and maybe Kevin McKiernan playing, and I expect James McMahon to be doing it.
Yeah, and up front then a lot of responsibility on Tomas, as score taker.
Yeah,
Kieran Corrigan, I suppose, as well, and
Corrigan,
Dara can chip in with scores.
I don't know what the thing about Kieran, but Kieran's playing well. I don't know, right? He's a mid-train, I don't know, but by all accounts, he's playing very well at the minute. And Tomas Corrigan hopefully can hit form in the day, because obviously he's our go-to. He will get attention. But when he's getting attention, we need the like of the other fellas stepping up. We need the like of Daki McCusker and Dara McGorn stepping up to the plate. Dara McGorn definitely knows where the post is, and if he gets an opportunity, he'll take them.
Yeah, you see him staying at 11, or did you see him drifting in and out?
I'd say he potentially drifting in. It might cause more trouble in there.
Yeah. And Ryan, look, I'm not going to ask you any questions on your selection or on the tactics, but you're content with the team you've had. You've alluded to the fact, I suppose, that you're missing quite a few players from last year, and I suppose that's a bit of a disappointment for you.
It is, yeah. Look, see, like there's nothing we can do. I think maybe we're just chatting before, maybe 8 or 9 of boys that would have played the last championship game, which is it's a massive turnover. It's just unfortunate they won't have them. Maybe some of the lads are away and some of the fellas aren't in the squad, and look, I think that's just life, and you just have to move on with it, you know. And look, I can't fault any of the players that have trained over the last 2 or 3 weeks. It's been very, very good, but look, I think we're in the same situation as Down. They're probably going to kind of come into it as favourites. Down they're a young team coming in. Look, and I think there's a lot of potential probably in both teams, and I think it's really, you talk about tactics and you talk about what players want. Usually it goes after about 5 minutes, all the tactics goes right to one day, because the players again just playing it. It's the life of their own, and if the championship it comes down to who wants it the most, and probably who's going to make the less mistakes on a cold winter's evening.
Yeah, the bookies don't normally get too much wrong. Fermanagh 2-1 outsiders, Down 4-7.
That's the bookies. Fermanagh's, I suppose, stats are 20% record in championship football again Down, which is disappointing. Come back to 61, so 2 wins out of 10.
The last experience here in championship you were involved in 2012.
Last two experiences, 09 we beat them, and 12 they beat us. And look, as I said earlier, a decision can go against you. That day we'd have sent off within the first 5 minutes, and I think if that hadn't happened, would have been it made a swung the different ways. But you played more or less the whole game with 14 men. It's massive in county football.
Yeah,
it takes a lot of energy to make up for that, particularly for the whole game. And the way the game's going now, there's a black card. You can be down for 10 minutes, and you have to plan for that. You have to plan to be down a man. You have to plan to be up a man, and how you use it. So, you know, decisions can go against you, and that could have a big swing in the game.
Treacy mentioned the players that are missing from, wasn't it Monaghan, our last game in the qualifiers last year. Shea Cullen, Lee Cullen, Barry Marone, Shane McGullion, Ryan Lyons, Alton Kellum, Sean Quigley, Kieran McBride. Those 8 players all played some part against Monaghan last year. A lot of people outside the county would say that no county could cope with losing 8 players of that calibre, and particularly a small county like Fermanagh couldn't.
Yeah, that's 8 strong players. Alton Kellum's a big loss, and a potential that was coming on. He was improving as the years went on. So, you know, he's a big loss there. And the 2 Cullens, obviously, Shea, for one reason or another, with the COVID and everything else, you know, they can't come back and play. That's big physicality. It's a big loss because they're strong.
Marone and McGullion, 2 strong players.
Barry retiring, you know, and that's understandable. That happens in football. But you know, you're missing that physical strength, and I suppose the strong boys are the strong, hardy boys of the team, and you know, but that's football. Things change, and there's somebody else to step in and take their place. You know, I've played many a time, and you're out injured, and you think they're going to miss you. Then they don't, and you're sitting there, and you're a bit jealous when they maybe come back with victory. I mean, missing a game here against Tyrone in 2005, I think it was, and the one I was jealous in my own heart, happy that they beat Tyrone in the league. But I was jealous. I think it was 2006 maybe, but at the same time you're saying, right, I have to get back here. I'm injured, but I don't want to somebody taking my place. You know, so somebody else steps in and does.
And you have to give the man alongside you there credit, because he's been brave to bring in, you know, young players, the stars of that Hogan Cup winning side in 2019, still maybe just 20 years of age, if even that, and starting three of them in defence: McNally, Flanagan, Largo Ellis, and of course Dara playing up front as well. 4 debutants, but those 3 young lads in particular, and a few others on the fringes. So he's not afraid to give youth a chance, which is a healthy thing. And
yeah, you need to do that, and credit where credit's due. Probably maybe might not want to blood them all at the one time, but the way things have worked out, but they're good footballers, so they will bring that. They're young, you know. People say he's a cool head for a young fella and all, but when you're young, you don't care about anybody else. You just go and play football, and you put your head on the line. You go in for the blocks. You do whatever it has to be done. Whereas you get older, you think a wee bit more about the football. So hopefully, them boys will just go out and express themselves on it.
Ricey, you must have great confidence in these young lads. What are the traits that you see in them lads? You know, particularly I'll focus in on the 3 lads that came through the Hogan Cup winning route.
I think they're all good lads, and in fairness, like, they all want to be there, which is a big thing. And you probably look at Luke Flanagan, as I was saying to you earlier on, he's doing waterboy for us against the Armagh, and 6 months later he's starting his first championship match. But look, they're good fellas. They like to give me a lot of grief.
They like to give you grief.
They're quick with their remarks back, you know, and they want to be there.
Dom must have tutored them well, did he?
Dom tutored them very, very well. I think he tutored Josh the best, now, in fairness to him. But no, look, they're all real good footballers, and like, I don't see the reason why. And like, there is a lot of good footballers in Fermanagh. It's probably getting into the fact maybe that if you're a good footballer, you can play at any age. You don't have to serve maybe 2 or 3 years getting yourself right onto the panel. If you're good enough, you're in. And the lads have shown. We've tried to be as honest with the fellas as we can, and we said, look, we went on form on training, and we said, whatever, after the Laois game, we said, look, we give everyone a clean slate, and says we'll work at it again. And we've been working towards it down, and we said, look, we knew it as a one-off game, and it's a chance to enjoy it. It's a novel championship, and we said, look, we're going to go out and enjoy these 3 or 4 weeks, because we might get another chance to do it. So we said, but why not have a go? And McNally there he's following the traits of all keepers, eccentric. So again, he's a.
I thought they were all very level and steady out in Timor.
So did I. But then he's kind of Santa. He's kind of Santa another way. But he's good. He's a good couple. And I think I've said it before. He's been a breath of fresh air once he's come in here, and he wants to play football and wants to learn. And as Marty says, and I think he alluded there in the club as well, when once you see a lot of young players coming on, even when you're an old man running about pitch, you seem to get a second bit of wind, and you can see maybe boys lifting themselves going. And I've even noticed in training that the younger boys have come into it, whatever, and we've added a few into the squad who haven't made the squad, but see, they've made a real difference. And Sean Cassidy is coming, and he's again, you can see him blossoming up that there, and it raises everything else, and it's nice to see, but you can kind of see maybe what the team could look like in 2-3 years.
Yeah, and you mentioned a few lads that you've added to the panel that aren't featuring in the 26 today. They are there. They will be thereabouts next year, I assume. And Brandon Horn this year injured. Is that
it's just an injured? Yeah. Look, Brandon was a player that we wanted to get on. I think he had a very, very good club championship, and he's got great potential. And it's just been unfortunate for us maybe this year that he has picked up the knock off the championship. But look, 2021's only 7 weeks away, and Brandon, that's what Brandon's goal is at the minute. He's working towards that, and look, we didn't want to put him under no pressure playing these championships, because you can't have to think long term about the Cubs, and you can't again say you don't want to be horsing them when they are injured. You can't have to. We try to take the view is that I'll probably be here for a short time, but these boys is going to be here for. You want these boys to be playing for the next 9-10 years, and that's the way we've looked at it.
Very good. And Paul McIver, like all backroom teams, work very hard, but Paul McIver, I suppose, very important in a lot of respects, but particularly when you face a down team, because he managed Kilcoo for a number of years and would know all their players inside out, and also knows a lot about the down senior team.
Oh, definitely. I think as Paddy Talley called him a golden nugget, and I think Paddy's right. Like, he's absolutely right. Like, we have a fair idea of the teams and of the Kilcoo boys, and Eve Paul's in there. He's been in there for 5 years. So look, we've a fair knowledge of them. We had a fair knowledge of them even before this coming in. So we've known that they've had a lot of friendlies in with Meath and Kildare, and we're able to get synopsis of them games, which is nice. So no, look,
did they win those games?
They actually did.
Did they?
They
right.
did, right.
Yeah.
So look, we had them. Look, and Paul's look, his knowledge of the game, even outside down, is huge, and he's a great passion for it and great love for it. So no, he's been great to have on board.
Yeah, and the down team was named this afternoon. Just very quickly, 1 to 15, Rory Bournes in goal, Peter Fagan, Patrick Murdoch and Pierce Lafferty is the full back line. Jared Collins, Kevin McKernan, Daniel McGuinness is the half back line. Caelan Mooney and Johnny Flynn, 8 and 9. Conor Poland, Paul Devlin, Barry O'Hagan, 10, 11 and 12. Jerome Johnson, Donal O'Hare and Caelan Doherty is the full forward line. So 3 Kilcoo men in there: Paul Devlin, Jerome Johnson, Caelan Doherty. Jerome Johnson's 2 other brothers, Ryan and Sheelan, both named on the bench as well. A few eyebrows raised, that thinking maybe those lads mightn't be too far away from a starting jersey.
I'd say they'll be close enough. You have Ryan McAleenan in there as well. He's been played all the league games, and he's usually been Paddy's go-to man marker. So you probably expect Ryan to start or someone. So look, I don't get too bogged down in it. That's probably the first time I've heard it. I've just been concentrating on us probably. So
yeah, you believe him?
I actually the day I've had.
Yeah, I do. I wouldn't.
What do you make of that down team?
I wouldn't get bogged down too much into that. There'll be a number of them staying, but I think there will be a few of the few more. We're not basing on Kilcoo here, but yeah, there will be a few more of the Kilcoo. Ryan Johnson probably been, and I think Sheelan Johnson's probably the player of the championship up there this year. But also Ryan McAleenan, I think you could be right. He could be in there for tomorrow's Corrigan. So there'll be a few, and then there's Dylan
Ward.
Dylan Ward, obviously, don't know if he'll start, but he'll definitely make an impact on that.
And a team that got relegated against a team that got promoted, will that have an impact here on Sunday?
For momentum, yeah, but you look at it, I suppose, Down didn't have 2 games. Did 1 game against Louth. I know that I suppose it was Ryan alluded to, they played the championship games there, or they played challenge games, but they're supposed to the Leitrim pulled out and that got them promoted, and then they played Louth, and really and truly there's nothing to play for, so it's hard to read into that game as well. I know you could say it's disappointing to get relegated. The season is in it, the year is in it, and the situation I suppose going down to Clare for Fermanagh was difficult, and even to field it, you have to come out hand it to them that they fielded a team that they, but you can't read too much into them league because the league's spread out over the whole year. Look, Fermanagh turn out here and beat Down and win a couple of championship games is a good season, so I just wouldn't be overly reading into the league at the minute.
Yeah, and home advantage?
Yeah, no crowds. I suppose home advantage Brewster's usually good for Fermanagh. Take advantage of just your own surroundings. As I said, the pitch is the pitch is looking well. Probably, but still will cut up a wee bit, and it will impact the legs and will impact the panel. So you're going to have to make use of your panel, but it's good to have it in Brewster Park, and hopefully that might swing it.
And the other factor, I suppose, that always has to get a mention is our referee on Sunday, Barry Cassidy from Derry.
No, not let Treacy say too much about that yet. Might be talking more about it Sunday.
No, I'll be all right.
No, well, look, he's an experienced referee. Could be over fussy at times, but I'd say that about all referees. Look, I don't think he should have an impact in the game. As I said, the decision could go against you, yes, but you can't do nothing about it. You just move on. So don't. If players keep their calm and keep the cool and keep to themselves and play their own game, it should be okay.
How difficult, Rice, is it for players and management to adjust to the new normal here with no supporters?
I think it's maybe. I think the players have got on all right about it. I think they've had more or less a lot of the club football. There hasn't been too much of a crowd on it, and you probably when you're probably on the line, I think probably even when you're playing, you probably hear less abuse maybe. But so it's actually nice. But no, look, I think they've just got on with it. I think players just want to play, and I think as Marty would tell you, see when the game goes on and when you're playing, even if there was maybe 5,000-6,000 in here, you wouldn't really notice it anyway. You wouldn't really hear it. You're totally focused in. So look, I think maybe for the players, maybe it's maybe before the game, where the more of the occasion before the game, the big crowds coming in, everyone going, the buzz coming up. That if you're driving up the Brewster, seeing the crowds coming, maybe a crowd in the clubhouse or somewhere, and maybe going round the bonds, stuff like that there. But see, once you go on the pitch, usually when you're on your game or everyone's on your game, I think the crowd becomes relevant then. Like.
Yeah, I think that too. I think the fact this year I know there's changing room in the county, but the fact there's even no changing rooms when we played the championship games, there's no change rooms, there's no band parade, there's no occasion. It's just a game of football, and I think that's massive there, particularly maybe for younger fellas. Just a game of football. That's all it is. You're not worried about what's going on outside of it. You don't have to. All you have to worry about is playing that game of football.
Yeah. And Sunday on the sideline, you come up against, I suppose, maybe a hero of yours in that he coached you to your first ever, to your first All Ireland final victory in 2003 with Tyrone. Paddy Talley had a big influence on your career, I assume.
Definitely, and so like, no, it's nice probably coming up against them. It's probably nice coming up against see boys that you've either played with or else trained long. And look, on Paddy, you would have learned a lot from watching Paddy's training, even back I can't believe it's 17 years ago, but it's a long time ago. So we'd had 2 good seasons with him, and anytime you see him, Paddy's always a great man. He always makes time for you, and he always chats with you, and he's just pure football. And when we were down here, the McKenna Cup, it was the first question he asked. He was asking how you were getting on, how you enjoying it, and again he said, look, anything you ever need, whatever, the chat or whatever, like he's always coming there. So no, it was great, and look, like you're going to enjoy. Like you've Archie Beattie in there, and you've Gavin McGilly as well, who knows. So look, you're going to come up against them boys. So look, it's nice as well. So.
And is it something you enjoy? Pitching your tactics against their tactics and so on and so forth. Is that a part of the game that you're enjoying?
Oh, you always like to see probably trying to counteract that as well. So like you have your plans, what you're trying to plan for what they might do, and I'm sure they're doing the same with us. But your plan, looking at the end of the day, but you can give the boys the plan. But usually, I think once they go onto the white line, like it'll be all the players, and it'll be the same with Paddy. You're just hoping the players can do a job for you, like, and I think we just stand there most of the time and just shout, and that's all really. So that's the players.
Yeah, and tactically, Marty, on Sunday, what way do you think both teams will set up?
I think both teams will go sweepers. Obviously, I think Gavin McKernan will probably sweep. I think Caelan Mooney will not be playing midfield. Ryan Johnson probably come into wing half back, but I suppose I think Fermanagh will obviously go with the sweeper too, and you have Dackie McCusker and Stephen McGullion there in the forward line, who's going to come out. I would say not I know, but I think Dara McGurn might push forward a wee bit more. Tomas Corrigan obviously is the go-to man. Winning frees on Sunday might be vital in conditions if the weather does turn. So I just think that I suppose the quicker you can get the ball inside the batter, but obviously you don't want to be throwing the ball away either.
And who lit the freeze on the right hand side?
I could give it to Moss. Both sides, to be fair.
Both sides.
If he's on form,
Yeah.
if he hits the first one, I think Tomas can hit them from anywhere.
You don't have a left-footed kicker there, do you?
They do.
Oh, you do, aye.
Dara? No, Dara.
Isn't it Dara?
Dara,
Ah,
aye.
Dara, that's right,
Yeah,
yeah.
Dara.
Yeah.
And he can, and Dara can strike them now, and when he's on form, he can strike them. And I suppose the like one, if there's one that he scores the first one, then might all go for two.
Yeah, on the sub bench, fairly experienced man has played a lot of county football. Colin Jones over the past few years, Richard O'Callaghan, Paul McCusker, a lot of experience. Kevin McDonald also played quite a bit this past couple of years. So
Yeah, I suppose you're talking. Richard O'Callaghan has a good year, the year of Enniskillen, and playing in full forward. Probably a new role, and probably played deep in the full forward line for Enniskillen as well. So an option there in that regard. I know county football's a wee bit different than that, but he also did a great job when he was in midfield alongside Owen Donnelly in his few years there. And then you have Paul McCusker as the player of the championship this year. Obviously, he can come on and make an impact and keep him in the right role going forward. You know, he's a player that can make an impact. And I suppose I'm going to say Sean Cassidy.
that was my next question. Yeah,
Sean Cassidy's
Cassidy.
young and he's confident and strong. Like, so I wouldn't be afraid. I wouldn't be afraid to throw him in, Racer.
No, would you not? I'd give you a call then.
It's interesting, you know, because you would have expected that, you know, Éirne and Derry-Gonley are the two teams that are more or less dominating Fermanagh football over the past number of years. Well, yeah, but I mean, you have been thereabouts. But you look at the squad, and you have two Derry-Gonley men, on the starting 15. You have two Derry-Gonley men and one Éirne man. So something that I just caught my eye there this evening was there's 12 clubs represented in the starting 15. And that's a healthy thing. That's a good thing.
That's a good thing. For
two from Timor and two from Derry-Gonley and two from Ballinlack, and then a range of other clubs.
Well, there was a couple of players from Éirne that probably carried injuries that it couldn't be involved too, but the you know, it's a spread of players that come together. And as opposed to Fermanagh, you don't have a big pick and big number of players to pick from, but it's a spread of the players come together. And I'm probably right. I don't know if you've experienced it with Tyrone, but I always felt when I was with Fermanagh, there was a great spirit, there was a great camaraderie, and everybody worked as hard as they could. Sometimes we didn't just get the luck, and as I said, the small county didn't get the luck in. But everybody put everything into it, and as I'm sure, and what I look at, it's no different here now.
Yeah, is that a factor, important factor from your perspective? I know it's one that Tyrone laid great stock on, you know, that bond and the camaraderie.
Oh no, definitely. I think you definitely have to, everyone has to pull them together. And looking as I said, like there is, I know there was Mark McCauley who was in the panel this year, but then he just did an injury as well, so like, and he couldn't really commit. So look, you would look, and even you had Lee Jones as well. He's injured. He's in the panel from Derry-Gonley. So you do the players in, and do probably, and I do as a thing that we are maybe trying to push even with the county board, even like with Fermanagh, with being the small numbers, that you probably do need to get the most out of the clubs. So if there's a great spread, there's 12 clubs, 13 clubs, that's fantastic. So you kind of have to push the other 6 or 7. The more players we can get out of every club is vital. So that means that, because the spread gets bigger, and that means the pick gets bigger. Because if we're only picking from 13 clubs, that means there's 7 clubs without. So that shortens the number as well. So that's why you have to look at it as well. And so it's a credit now. I know there's a lot of work on behind the scenes of the club. So look, we want a good spread of players, and we don't want it to be seen to be a closed shop maybe for the top teams. And look, we want all good players on. If you're a good player going well at training, I don't think we'll not discriminate against you or the club. No. You'll get the call. Yeah. As I said, I've been trying to get this man here, but he definitely changed the number.
No, I'll give him the number tonight. So wait for the semi-final.
Semi-final or the final, maybe.
That's time enough.
Yeah. Right. Well, look. Speaking of time, it's 10 o'clock. We've done it. We've done an hour. It's pretty cold here in Brewster Park, but we thank Enniskillen Gaels for their hospitality here tonight and opening up and putting on the lights and having the place looking so well. As you can see there again, there's the pitch where all the action will throw in on on Sunday at 1:30. So we look forward to that. Ricey, first championship match for yourself as a manager. You looking forward? Are you a bit nervous? Are you a bit apprehensive, or what's your take?
Oh, looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you?
Yeah, well, that's good.
That was a good question, Jess.
You've got to look forward to it. Hey, no point not looking forward to it.
Apprehensive? No.
No.
Good.
Sure.
Confident.
I think you always have to be confident to go in the championship match. I'm sure down are like so. It's just the reason you're training.
Yeah.
You're training to take part in the championship. You're not training just to turn up. So.
Is that confidence rightly placed, do you think?
Yeah, when you look at the debutants, looking at the young players, you have full confidence in them young fellas coming in to do a job, and like as Treacy said, they're going to be there for a number of years, and that's where they're learning the tricks of the trade now. I suppose no better man to learn them from, but you know that's where it is, and I'd be confident them players coming. They've won. They've been used to winning, so I'd like to think that they'll bring it on to it. And look, they'll be thinking in the same boat. You put yourself into their shoes, they'll be saying they'll think they can go a bit from Fermanagh. So it is going to be a close, tucked game. It's going to be tight, and the luck will need to be on your side at different times. But I do think Fermanagh can get over the line on it.
So Fermanagh by
maybe 2. It's going to be tight.
My nerves will never stick that. Could you make it 3 or 4?
You're better playing than watching.
You're right. You're right. Right, guys. We've passed the 10 o'clock mark. Thanks a million, Marty, for coming along, and Ricey, thanks. And I know the whole of Club Éirne and the whole of the county are rightly behind yourself and the players on Sunday, and we wish you well and pass on our best wishes to all the players and the rest of the management team for Sunday.
No problem, thanks very much.
All right. So, folks, that's a wrap. Thanks again for joining us here on Fermanagh GA TV. A cold night, as I say, in Brewster Park, but that hour flew in, very enjoyable. We hope wherever you are in the world tuning into this that you enjoyed it, and that you only have now another 36 hours or so to wait for throw in here on Sunday, and we hope that Fermanagh boys can deliver a victory over Down and progress to an Ulster semi-final, which would be great, playing an Ulster Championship semi-final in the middle of November. So until we meet up again here on Fermanagh GA TV, thanks to everybody, particularly Phil Flanagan, for all his work here tonight in getting this event and broadcast up and going, despite the earlier technical difficulties, and apologies for the late start. And again, thanks to the guys in the Skilling Gales for all their help here tonight. So until we meet again on Fermanagh GA TV, slán go fóill.